We all have our favorite actors for whatever reasons. It's no secret that directors do too, and there are loads of director-actor duos that work together consistently. Well, it looks like Christopher Nolan has just dished some high praise about Cillian Murphy, and the actor reciprocated his feelings. In this video, we'll be talking to you all about what Nolan described Murphy to be, and why Cillian himself loves working with him. Let's go. First off, he called Murphy one of the best actors ever. Let's be real, this is huge coming from a director, especially one like Christopher Nolan. The man's a legend and has made his mark on film history, so when he adores an actor like this, you know it's the real deal. Plus, we've got all the hype around their upcoming film Oppenheimer these days, so obviously the director's been getting asked left, right, and center about it. Now that we've got the official trailer on our hands, we've got some glimpses of Murphy as the lead in this exciting new project. Christopher himself? Oh, he's beaming with an appreciation for him. In an interview with Total Film, the director talked about just how great his frequent collaborator is. Cillian's been in quite a few movies of his, including Dunkirk, the Dark Knight trilogy, and Inception. Now, we get a taste of him as the leading man, with Nolan behind the camera. He was just starstruck. Christopher said that Cillian's one of the best actors of all time, and when he said all time, he meant it. He clarified that he's known this to be true ever since the day the two met. Wow, that's a lot of foresight to have. He went on to say that even though he's known the guy for almost 20 years now, he's not just the best actor of his generation. Murphy just transcends time for him and is an absolute classic. Not many directors can say this, but here we are. Ah, to be called timeless by the Christopher Nolan. Our Peaky Blinders star doesn't need to imagine. This is real life for him. Up next, how Nolan was waiting for the perfect moment. This mantle wasn't just given to him out of the blue, folks. You have to grind and prove your worth to get to this point, and Nolan acknowledged that fully. According to Total Films, he said that he had been waiting for that one special project for Murphy. Though they've worked together quite a few times in the past, we've never seen him in a lead role. That is, until Oppenheimer. This was very intentional on the director's part, since he wanted the perfect opportunity to let the brilliant actor shine in all his glory. What's more, is he knew that the Irish actor was waiting for the same thing too. It was like an unspoken agreement for both of them, like they were lying in wait for the planets to align at the right moment. The minute that the director felt he could trust Cillian with the cinematic weight the main character has to carry, it was done and decided. He even called it a burden, which of course isn't a negative thing. It's a big responsibility for sure, and to see him carry it has been nothing short of amazing. Just to see all that waiting pay off and to finally tell Cillian that this is it was super thrilling for Nolan. It looks like he's pretty proud of how far his colleague has come, and it's so wholesome to see. Being in a creative field like film requires teamwork, and to see it be done with such love is what Hollywood needs. Coming up, Nolan's comments about Robert Downey Jr. His love knows no bounds, folks. He made sure that while we're all appreciating Cillian, it's high time we looked at Robert Downey Jr. as well. His whole cast is so stellar. It's hard not to gush with praise for all of them. He brought up RDJ and talked about how it's so easy to forget about him, but it really shouldn't be the case. Sure, we all know him as Iron Man, the definition of a movie star, but there's a difference between a movie star and an actor, and Christopher had to set the record straight. Downey is also one of the greatest actors of all time. You realize the absolute enormity of this when you remember that this is the first time the actors worked with him. The director continued that it was an amazing experience to see him lose himself like that in a role in such a special way. If anything, it's just a testament to how good he is at his job. After all, being an actor does require you to lose yourself almost completely in your character. It looks like he might just end up being cast in the next Nolan movie, because we all know how much he loves his favorite actors. And now, some details about Oppenheimer's cast. We've all been dying to see the performance that wowed Nolan so much, so let's look at the rest of the cast while we wait for it to release, shall we? So the movie's based on J. Robert Oppenheimer and his life. Most importantly, the fact that he invented the atomic bomb. Historical fiction, but with a Nolan twist, which is super exciting. Of course, we've got the iconic Cillian Murphy playing Robert, and some amazing supporting roles too. For real guys, it's an A-list cast we're talking about here. Emily Blunt plays Kitty Oppenheimer, Robert's wife and a biologist, plus Florence Pugh is Jean Tatlock. We're in to see a lot of these actors play different accents, which again is always fun to see. Robert Downey Jr. is Lewis Strauss, who is the chairman of the Atomic Energy Commission. On On top of that, you can also expect to see Dane DeHaan, Jack Quaid, Matt Damon, and Rami Malek. Their roles haven't been confirmed yet, but just look at this amazing cast, you guys. There are so many good performances to look forward to, and we've got to wait just a little more. The movie's set to release July 21st of this year, so strap in. It's gonna be explosive, that's for sure. Now, let's look at why Cillian Murphy loves working with Christopher Nolan. Firstly, a timeline of collabs. Everyone loves a director-actor combo. It's so fun to see how the same actor can play different characters and pick out similarities across their filmography. It's an amazing way to stay fresh and explore your limits as a performer and as someone behind the camera. Murphy agrees. He and Nolan go way back. Their history first began with the Irish actor's portrayal of Scarecrow in the Dark Knight trilogy. Fun fact, Nolan cast him as Dr. Crane after screen testing him for Bruce Wayne. Back then, it was too early to give him a lead role, we suppose. Well, look where he's at now. Plus, he even talked about the screen test with THR and said that he wouldn't want to see that footage twice. The thing is, he ended up watching it again because his kids showed it to him online. While he was stoked about working with Nolan, he said that Bale was always the right choice for Batman. He'd go on to star in Inception and Dunkirk in 2010 and 2017. It was no surprise to hear about him being cast in the star-studded Oppenheimer, because it's kinda natural to think that Nolan and he would come as a duo now. The actor spoke to The Guardian about what his experience has been working with the Oscar-nominated director, and why he just loves it so much. He'll continue to do it for as long as it takes. That kind of dedication, it's tough to come by. Up next, how he'll always deliver for Nolan. Talking to The Guardian, Murphy said that he'll always be down to work with the director. Literally, anytime he calls, he'll answer. The size of the role doesn't even matter. It never did for him. That's a true sign that the man enjoys working with him that much. It's all about the experience on set, and he's on board for everything. Just like the director had tons of good things to say, so did the actor. To him, Christopher's a real example of what filmmakers should aspire to be. He shoots on film instead of IMAX, and that's something the Irishman admires. It creates so much more challenge and becomes demanding since it pushes the limit of a studio's system. He even went on to say that he thinks Chris is flying the flag for filmmakers everywhere. High praise on both ends, it seems. Quite literally, since he's also called him one of the best living directors of all time. What's more, he mentioned two other artists who make such intricate stories on a large scale. The directors in question, Paul Thomas Anderson and Quentin Tarantino. These comparisons make a lot of sense, to be honest, since all three of them have a unique approach and portray very complex stories. And now, his initial reaction to being cast in Oppenheimer. Believe it or not, Cillian was shocked. You must be thinking that he's a big shot. He must have seen it coming. But nope. In conversation with Esquire, he revealed just what those first moments were like for him. Apparently, he was shocked, since this is the first time he's been put in the lead for a big budget movie like this. And for Nolan, since before this, he's only cast him in supporting roles. That being said, of course, he was over the moon. He acknowledged that it's a huge responsibility, and there's a lot of work required of it, but he was always ready for it. Not only that, but the story itself is so sensitive too. You're playing the man known as the father of the atomic bomb, for crying out loud. The stakes were high, but Murphy was up to the challenge. He wasn't too intimidated though. He's worked with Chris for so long and knows him in and out of work, and it's safe to say they're very comfortable around each other. That's how he comforted himself. Yup, the actor said that since he's working with one of the greatest directors alive, he's in good hands. That kind of trust and confidence is something to strive for, honestly. Let's keep our eyes peeled for more hints about Oppenheimer while we wait to see this duo in action, folks. Well, that's all for this video. What do you think of Nolan calling Murphy one of the best actors of all time? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content like this. See you in the next video.